I've just watched George Byron's video about Elizabeth Audrey Hale. I'm just wondering about her pronouns. I seem to remember that that there's a title for these people, other than to identify them, other than saying he, she, it, they, whatever. And it's MX. And I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Ms is something that kind of got a lot of flack. When I was younger, people, I thought it was fair enough, you're a woman, you don't want to say if you're Miss or Mrs., you resent the you resent having to disclose your marital status as a woman that a man is not required to disclose just by the use of title. So let us look up MX, because I don't know how to pronounce it. MX is an English language neologistic honorific that does not indicate gender. Developed as an alternative to gendered honorifics such as Mr. and Ms. Oh yes, I should find out how it's pronounced. Developed as an alternative to gendered honorifics such as Mr. and Ms. In the late 1970s, it is the most common gender-neutral title among non-binary people and people who do not wish to imply a gender in their titles. How infuriating. How do you pronounce it, though? Let me see. Indian Airlines, Vistara and AirAsia India, both Tata Group companies, added MX as a third option for passengers booking flights from June 2022. But I recommend George Byron's video because it's got everything basically, including the final moments of the shooter and how the police got her. I'm going to be using the pronouns that I think are suitable for somebody like her. How do you pronounce MX? Does anybody know? Mex, eh? Mex. Somebody seems to be saying mux. I don't want to get to the stage where people are, where people know how to pronounce it. So Tata Airways are leading the way. It's encouraging mental illness, isn't it? So was talking about it earlier with Vincent in my earlier stream today, and the conversation went towards, well, what this all means. Okay, somebody said mix, and now I'm hearing mix. I guess eventually the BBC will be pronouncing it often enough so that we know how to pronounce it without looking it up. But I don't really want it to happen because it's aiding, abetting, encouraging and provoking mental illness. Because this is what it is. It's saying it's okay to do these things. To say you want to be a member of the opposite sex when it's obviously irrational because you're not going to be happier masquerading as a member of the opposite sex. And even if you did it really well, the person who thinks you're a really great member of the opposite sex to the one you are is going to get angry when you finally have to tell them that you know they're not the man or the woman that they thought you were. So either way, you're going to be upsetting yourself and other people, and obviously a sane government would not be encouraging you to do this. Hello, Stephen J. James. Stephen appears and wants me to share this picture, and I don't want to. I don't want to share. Okay, I'll give you the links, all right, because I guess there's a bit of prurient curiosity. Because, people wonder how the female to male operation is accomplished. So what they do is they cut off a bit of your thigh muscle and wrap it around your artificial penis, which you can pump up. And I think the more primitive forms means you actually physically have to pump the thing. I mean, it will be an external pump thing, and the more advanced versions means it's actually in your balls, and you can pump it up discreetly in that way. But I do wonder at the kind of woman who would contemplate having sex with this kind of fake man. And I suppose I wonder how it is, whether it's possible to do it unnoticed. But actually, yes, I've heard of a story of a woman who said she was tricked by this other woman who managed to convince her that she was a man. And then she realized it was somebody she actually knew. Oh, it was something very complicated. But I'm saying it's going to have an impact on your mental health if you're going to choose this as a lifestyle. And obviously it's going to have an impact on the person that you managed to fool when they discover that you're not the man or the woman they thought you were. They might fall in love or intention to marry you, and then they're going to feel really stupid to realize that you were a member of the opposite of the sex that they thought that you are. You are opposite to the sex that they thought you were, and they're going to get angry or possibly violent, and it's just not going to be a good outcome. Obviously, I think it is disgusting. I suppose I could. I think what Stephen wants is for me to use it as a thumbnail, but that might be a bit too much. But I'm sure you can find, just Google it. So basically, what I'm saying is that, however grotesque the look, maybe you do want to have a look at it. So I guess I can maybe try, because I should satisfy your prurient curiosity, and this is really why you come and listen to me anyway. But obviously, it's, I'm just saying the principle of it is wrong. Maybe the all kinds of things that we, all kinds of medical procedures that we think would not be nice if we had to have an artificial stomach or an artificial bowel, and all kinds of really quite unpleasant procedures, or that we might have to undergo. Oh, this comes from Red Ice. And I suppose in a way it's quite clever, but it's inconvenient. And even if you manage to fool your sex partner for a while, eventually they're going to find out. They're going to want to have a look at you, and then they'll see to their horror what what's the word? That you basically mutilated your body to look like that. And fundamentally it's irrational, and also immoral. It's irrational to think that you're going to be happier masquerading as a member of the opposite sex. And even if you did it really well and convinced people, there's going to be blowback from it, because if somebody falls in love enough with you to marry you, then you have to assume that they want to have children, and you won't be able to have children, and and they wasted their time courting you, or even resources wooing you if they think you're a woman. And people are just going to be upset all round, and because they're upset with you, you're going to be upset yourself, and then eventually it will of course the worst case scenario is that you are you end up committing suicide after feeling very foolish. And also, it's not just the person you manage to fool into thinking that you're a member of the opposite sex. It will be, your parents, your loved ones, who are going to be horribly embarrassed. And so obviously your mental health is at issue. First, it's obviously irrational to think that you're going to be happier masquerading as a member of the opposite sex, and it's immoral because you're going to be, hurting all these people, even if you do it really well and you manage to fool all these people into thinking you're a member of the opposite sex. So it's already, it's dishonest and it's immoral. it's irrational and it's immoral. But worse than that is that the government is actually encouraging this by telling very young children that it is an acceptable lifestyle choice. So the fact that a lot of you might think it's disgusting is it's actually only the tip of the iceberg. But people have been talking about the what they are to make of it. It's a shooting, it's a private school, it's a Christian school. What are we to make of it? What moral should we extract from it? So this video by George Byron, I mean, it's got all the details, the actual shooting from two body cams of two cops who, well, I think they did their job pretty well. And they showed her untidy room with crap all over the floor, and there was a rainbow flag and a NATO flag, and that was the weirdest thing of all. She had a NATO flag of all things. So I guess it's a good way of discrediting NATO, and of course you do want to discredit NATO if it's about to start World War III. And if you did have a look at the Daily Mail reports, I mean, it's actually quite sad. You look at the family and their house, and the neighbours who talked about them, and I guess they're supposed to represent the kind of all-American normality and being white, and it wasn't so. And the school itself is quite a well-appointed school. It's obviously a private school. It had good facilities. It was, well, actually, there were no people there. I mean, the buildings and fittings and all that looked well appointed. And finally, we come to the subject of it being Christian. So what are we to make of the fact that it is Christian? I guess if you're going to be mean about the school, you're going to say, well, the school obviously didn't teach her not to kill. And if it was properly Christian, it would have taught her that there may be, lots of things about ourselves that we're not happy with, and that we must accept and make the most of, and try and improve things without getting angry and hurting people as a result. But obviously this Presbyterian school didn't quite manage to pass that bit of what's that word? Is it values? Yes, I suppose it's kind of all values are to accept that you are to make the best of what God, if you believe in that sort of thing, has given you, and accept it with good grace without complaining and killing people over it. So there was speculation that Elizabeth Audrey Hale had maybe relationship problems with some woman, and that was what made her do this thing. George tried to find the manifesto and couldn't really find it. So I suppose that this information will be revealed to us in due course. But I want to emphasize the point of, regardless of how disgusting you think the whole thing is, what is even more disgusting is our governments encouraging this sort of thing. And obviously, it is mental illness to dishonestly masquerade as a member of the opposite sex in the mistaken belief that that will make you happier without caring about the consequences of fooling people into thinking you are a member of the opposite sex. It's going to upset them, and their being upset will upset you and will reflect badly on your parents and your family. So you should really do it. And, if you're really that upset, it seems to me that suicide is better than going through this rigmarole and then ending up being shot by the police, ending up committing suicide by cop. And that's really all I wanted to say about the subject at the moment. And just to remind you that we live in a mad world where our governments are, in fact, encouraging this because they are evil. No, I wasn't going to do it. I mean, I think I do have a bit of good sense left. It was too much trouble and my computer's too slow, and yes. So, half Galician. Welcome back. You're making me yawn again. I guess I get it from Vincent, who yawns the whole time. And now thinking of yawning just makes me want to yawn. Who's Ken Brown? The Jew-obsessed, self-important sophist. So I don't know who Keith is. I don't know who you're talking about. Yes, you're right, Stephen. My standards are conveniently low because I don't want to intimidate, the degenerates that I know are everywhere around me. All right. I think I've said what I wanted to say. The theme song for this stream. Okay, I'll have a look. I suppose if I played it, I would get a copyright strike. Will I? So who is this Keith Brown person, Ken Brown person? And why are you talking about him? And how is Luke these days? Oh, endless yawning. Have I become Vincent? Well, it does appear that my computer may soon need replacing. It just getting slower and slower and slower. Almost as if it were programmed to get slower and slower and slower. Am I going to get copyright? Oh yes, I know this one. I would play it because I will get a copyright strike, won't I? I can't stop yawning now. Are you sure Luke wants to talk to me? He was very unwelcoming the last time. Okay, well, thanks for coming by, Half Galician, everybody. I'm going to respect the subject matter of the stream, and I'm going to end it before the 27th minute is up. I'm sure more information about Hale will mix. Is it mix? Hale will mix. Anyway, you know who I mean. All right, I won't ramble on. Thank you all for coming. Goodbye.